Hello, Peaceful Profits Nation. Welcome to the Peaceful Profits Podcast. I'm your host, Chanelle Neilson, and we have a great episode for you today. So today I am joined by my fellow coaches, Suzanne Burns and Zaida Hager. We are the coaches here at Peaceful Profits, and we are going to talk all about what it's like on the inside, coaching here at Peaceful Profits. And to start off, let's just do some brief introductions. So Suzanne, if you'll start us off, tell us a little bit about what you do here at Peaceful Profits and what brought you here to the team.
Yeah, so I am one of the acceleration coaches, like you said, and I came in as a client in March of 2022. I run a nonprofit, and so part of my coaching practice is helping other nonprofits and other ministries understand and apply trauma-informed principles in their own organizations. And so as I got my feet under me with working in the Peaceful Profits program, I really enjoyed my time working with the coach, and I really appreciated her wisdom and her feedback, and just thought it was so beneficial. So when an opportunity arose in October of 2022 to become a coach as well, I jumped all over it. And I've absolutely loved my year now working with other clients here in Peaceful Profits.
I love it. Okay, how about you, Zaida?
Well, I came in as a client also with the intention of starting my own copywriting business, and just never really did start doing that. I've taken quite a windy career route. But most recently, I had done a career change into sales, and I had a meeting with our former COO, Kaylee, for a completely different reason. And she was like, "What are you doing now? You just decided to go get a sales job where you make 110 cold calls a day for a product you don't even like. Why?" And I was like, well, figured when I start my own thing, I'll have to know how to sell, and why not learn the skills at a job where they're paying me for it. And she was like, "Oh, that's the kind of growth that we want on our team. I want you to come work for me." And I was like, "I don't know what I'm doing here." She was like, "This might sound crazy." And I was like, "It does sound crazy." And I was immediately like, "Yeah, of course. How would I turn this down? I love this company." So
That's awesome. Okay, it's so fun to hear your journey. So for me, I came in August of 2022 into the sales team. And the reason that I wanted to join, I had been on a previous sales team. And the reason I got into sales at all was because for a long time I've had my own business, but I felt like that was where I was weak. And I thought, okay, I need to grow in sales to really make a go of it at my business. But I didn't have enough leads coming in that I felt like I needed to accelerate my growth. And so when an opportunity came up to work at Peaceful Profits, I was actually working for another sales team, and I saw the email go out and I thought, no, I have a job. I'm good. Peaceful Profits sounds amazing, but I don't know. And then I went to bed that night and it would not get out of my head. And I'm like, okay, I got to do this. So I turned in a video application. I got the job right away and I loved it. And I worked in sales for about 6 months before transitioning over to coaching, which is my true passion. I love being a coach. And so this has been really fun to be on this side, but also to have seen it from the other side too, to have been in sales and gotten a real feel for what we do at Peaceful Profits. So let's start with Zaida for this next question. So Zaida, in your mind, what is the role of a coach in the Peaceful Profits programs?
well, I guess I see it as like a guide. I feel like sometimes I have clients who want me to do things for them, or who want me to tell them what choice to make in their business. And so I can tell you what it isn't, is it's not, I can't tell you what to say, and I can't tell you should you do A or B, but I can tell you what might be the consequences of these things. I feel like my job is to help people talk through things, brainstorm with them about their ideas and their offers, and to sort of push them along, keep them on the right track. But there's a lot where I'm I want to help more. And I feel like it's not helpful. Like if somebody says, what do I say to this person for referrals? Like I can give you advice, but I can't write an email asking for referrals for you, because what will happen next time you need to ask? You know what I mean? And then a lot of it is just reminding people that like, you're just talking to another person. Like, remember that everyone that you're talking to as a business owner is just another human being that you can have a conversation with. And that's like a really hard thing to remember, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, it's funny how often clients and ourselves need those reminders. So what would you add to that, Suzanne?
A lot of times I'll describe it as part tour guide in the program, part cheerleader, and part butt kicker. It's helping them move forward consistently, giving them the accolades that they need, the encouragement that they need, even for those small successes, but also making sure that they don't derail themselves. They don't slow down, whether out of fear or intimidation or overwhelm, but that they keep moving forward.
Yeah, those are really great thoughts. One thing that we see a lot that I feel is an important part of our role is in the implementation program in stage 0, Mike talks about the valley of despair. And it's this model that he goes into a lot of depth, but the basic idea is that you start off very optimistic, not knowing what you're getting yourself into. And then as you travel along and you start to know what you're getting yourself into and realize how far you have to go, you're in this valley of despair. And I feel like that becomes a big role of us, of our job here as coaches, is to let people, help them through the valley of despair, put our arm around them and walk up together a little bit. Because that's a real thing. Is that something you two have experienced with your clients as well?
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, I'm so glad you brought up the emotional cycle of change, because that, when I discovered that through I've been in nonprofit and in psychology for 25 years, and I had never seen that before. But ever since I discovered it, I probably talk about it at least once a week minimum, whether it's with a Peaceful Profits client, whether it's one of my clients here at the nonprofit I run, or one of the organizations that I work with. I think that information is so pivotal to understanding that valley of despair, and that you absolutely have to go through it. Like we as humans tend to try to come up with ways to avoid it. But when you begin to embrace the part where it has to be gone through in order for you to get to the other side, there is no other way to get to success without going through the valley of despair. That to me is so incredibly freeing. It's like, oh, this feeling that I'm feeling is normal, and I just have to go through it. Some things you can go around, some things you can go over, but some things you just have to go through.
Yeah, absolutely. And then knowing that is part of the process, because human nature is, we don't want that. Oh, it's painful. We don't want to go through the valley of despair. So we think, well, and we see this over and over. And this is why people come to us having been through many programs, because they get to that part and then they think, oh, I should start something new. And they go back to start something new. And our goal here is like, no, don't go back and start something new. Move through this. Keep going, because there's something on the other side for you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I can tell you, like, specifically, that's why I never got my business off the ground. And I've done a lot of mindset work between then and now. And back then I would have told you, like, that's not what it was. I just needed to learn more before I could feel like I had value to offer. And now, like, I was just in that valley of despair, and I was like, well, what if what I do is just learn more and more and more about how to do it, so that I don't have to be afraid that I'm not going to be good. And I definitely see clients doing that thing too. So everything Suzanne said.
Yeah, no, that's really good. And that leads me to our next question. And I want to start with Zaida again, because I imagine that her answer is going to go along the same line. So what do you wish all your clients knew? Let's start there.
I feel like the thing that I find myself saying the most on like Q&As and stuff, or maybe I don't say it the most, but I feel like it's the most important when I say it, is that there is not like one, like we're all trying to avoid doing it wrong. Like we want to build a perfect business and we want to create a perfect offer and we want to find the perfect clients just without messing up first. And there is no like one right way to do it. The only way to do it, I think, is to just go out there and try to do it and to fail and fall on your face and mess up and get back up and learn from it and know, like, if you go out and get some clients and it turns out they're not the clients that you want to work with and they're a nightmare to work with, now you know who you don't want to work with. And if you started out having no idea who you want to work with, now you're like a step further. And the only way to find that out is by doing it. So I think we all we want to gather all the information so that we can do everything the perfect way. And it's just, I don't think that's real in anything in life. Like there is no one right way for anything. And we just have to figure it out.
That's so interesting hearing your backstory of that you were stuck in that trap. Like, I'm just going to learn more. I'm just going to figure out more. And I think that really adds depth to what I hear you tell clients all the time, right? Because you're not just saying, you're like, this is where I was stuck. I get this. I get what you're doing. Stop it. It's not going to work out for you. You've got to go out there and do the thing. So what about you, Suzanne? What do you wish that all your clients knew?
Yeah, I think it goes along with what Zaida just said, but done beats perfect. I think that's one thing that I repeat over and over and over. Just get it done. Like Zaida said, there is no one right way. It will not be perfect. But you can't get better if you don't go through the first one. Like you can't get better at sales calls if you don't go through the first call. You can't get better at building your funnel or building your high ticket offer if you don't do the first one. So go ahead and get it out of the way. Go ahead and get that finished. When we were starting the nonprofit, I used to always say, fail early, fail small, because failure is part of the process. And so I'd rather do it now while we're small and it's inconsequential and we can get back up again. Like a toddler falling is way simpler than somebody who's in their 70s or 80s falling. I would much rather fall and land on the soft cushion of youthful ignorance than I would farther along when it's much more serious.
Yeah, I love that. Those are really great insights from both of you. I think the only thing I would add for me, what I wish my clients knew is, so I have a son, he's 14. He loves to ask me this question. Like he loves to say, what if? Mom, would you rather questions? Would you rather have $1 million given to you, or would you rather earn $1 million? And that's what he loves to do, that with money and have this conversation. And I always say the second one, I would rather earn $1 million. And why I bring that up here is what I wish my clients knew is this learning process is the goal. We think the goal is like, oh, get to $1 million, get to this business at the other end. But what we're learning, and I see this modeled so well with what Mike does. Yes, Peaceful Profits is an amazing, I think, I don't even know how many figures, a 7+ figure business that does, really well. But the main amazing thing is if Mike needs to bring in money, he knows how to do it. He's got all that knowledge. And if Peaceful Profits shut its doors tomorrow, he could start up a business like that. And so the struggle, these hard pieces that clients go through, that is the beauty of being an entrepreneur. All of the things that you're learning to get you there is what is going to allow you to keep it up, to have, all these things. And to your point, Suzanne, about failing early, sometimes I have seen, not in Peaceful Profits, but in my other work, where people succeed too quickly, don't know why, and it's almost a fluke, and then they don't know how to repeat it. It's not repeatable for them. And so when you fail early and you fail small, those are just building blocks of growth that allow you to improve. So it's a powerful lesson that you get to learn the hard way. It's a wonderful thing. But enough about failure. Let's talk about success. So Suzanne, what are some of the successes you've seen with your clients recently?
I think so we have, first sales and finishing the book, finishing the program. So now it's ready for scalable sales. And those are great successes to celebrate. But I think sometimes the biggest successes are the mindset shifts. And when they finally start getting it, when we've been round and round on your high ticket offer and get understanding the difference between your program design and your offer and or the audience that you want to serve. And that aha moment where it finally starts clicking, and now it's like they've gained momentum and they're ready to start running all of a sudden. Those are the places where I find the most satisfaction.
Yes, that's so good. How about you, Zaida?
Yeah, I was just reading a message from a client before we got on this call, where she's nervous about her launch of she's run this program before, but she increased the price and all that. And she is like a month behind from when she thought she was going to start selling it. And she was like, I'm really nervous now about my price point because I have a month less to sell it. And she was like, but I'm not going to give in to that because I know that that's like just my mind being afraid. And I was like, yes, that's the kind of stuff that I love to see, is like the self-awareness that's just my brain telling me that. And that's not real. That's not like, it's not going to fail now because we're behind. And yeah, all my clients are in foundations. Y'all know that, but our audience might not. And I think it's really cool because we started, what was it, September 1st. And a couple weeks ago, I had a client make his first 2 sales off of referrals and hit his first 10K month. The power of referrals, guys. It's like, we're not joking. And then a lot of my clients right now are like in the beginning phases of getting on podcasts to talk about what they do. And so I have a bunch of them who are like, I booked 4 podcasts, I booked 3 podcasts. And then they realize how scary it is that now they have to go talk on a podcast. So I just like seeing the little steps, the like, okay, I'm going to start pitching. And then they get podcasts and they're like, well, now I have to go be on one. And then they go on one and they're like, it went great. They asked me to come back. So I think it's like what y'all were just saying about like fail early, fail often. Like, I learned in my own life that baby steps are really important for me. Like I don't know what it is about my brain, but if I look at a big goal, I just like, if I look at like cleaning a whole room, I just have to sit on the couch and like think about it and be overwhelmed. But if I look at like cleaning off my desk, I can do that. And so if I were like, oh, what I need to do this month is get on 100 podcasts, I would absolutely never. But if I was like, I need to write my pitch email, that's something. So I like seeing them like work their way through all the little stuff and being able to celebrate those things. Because like if, I don't know, if the only worthy goal to attain is hitting 10K months, when you hit 10K months, that goalpost is going to move. But if it's like becoming the kind of business owner who can hit a 10K month, you're becoming that right now. So I like to
good.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
That was good.
Really good. So many good things in there. So many things I want to say. So one, let's start with, for those who just heard Zaida say foundations and we're like, wait, what's that? What's the difference? So our foundations program is for people who are just getting started in their business and figuring out their offer, where the implementations program is for people who have a tested offer and maybe want to shift that a little, add in a book, scale their offer. So those are a little bit different. Suzanne and I coach in both programs, and Zaida coaches in foundations. And then to your point about this idea of seeing success along the way, I think is so powerful. I was reminded of the book, The Gap and the Gain by Ben Hardy and Dan Sullivan. And this idea that we need to always look at, he talks about measuring success backward, because if we're always looking for the next thing, this is a tendency of entrepreneurs. We want to get to that next goal, but when we get there, we don't stop and celebrate. We set a new goal. And so it feels like we've never attained anything. And he talks about this idea of measuring backward, like, look how far you've come. And it's very important in what we do as coaches to point our clients that way, because maybe they haven't all made the 10K month or the 100K month or whatever their goal is. Maybe they haven't made that yet, but there have been some successes. So what are those? And that's one of the things that we do as coaches, is to say, okay, what have your successes been? And just that act of figuring out what those are very helpful for people to realize, oh yeah, I have had a lot of successes along the journey. So one other thing, there were so many things, like I said, and what Zaida said, that I was like, oh, I want to talk about that. One is, I think, to what we were talking about earlier of the role of a coach in Peaceful Profits, is giving our clients those little clean off the desk rather than clean the whole room. Because I think so many people come in and they're like, oh my gosh, I want to do this and this and this. And I thought it would be a good idea to have this social media and this. And they're just overwhelmed. And as coaches, we say, okay, your next step is work on this. And it becomes very doable and a lot more reasonable and accomplishable. And then they can move on and work on the next thing. Any comments on any of that, Suzanne, before we move on to our last question?
I really think that is the major piece, is breaking it down into bite-sized pieces. But I'm one of those people where I love seeing, you've heard the phrase, can't see the forest for the trees. I'm the opposite. I can absolutely picture the architectural rendering of the forest when it's fully complete. What I struggle with then is turning around and planting tree by tree by tree. So I think you have kind of the both ends of the spectrum. You have the ones that get super overwhelmed by all the stuff. And then you have the ones who are so in the weeds doing the day-to-day things, trying to finish tasks, that they kind of lose sight of that bigger picture. So our role as coaches is really to kind of be that foil for whichever side they're falling on. If you have forgotten what your actual purpose is, it's my role to come in and help you. Or if you're so overwhelmed by the vastness of your list, your to-do list, it's my job to come in now and tell you, okay, so where's that next tree need to be planted?
Oh, that's so good. I love the analogy. That's great. Okay, so to finish up, let's go through, we'll start with Zaida. How we've talked about all successes and what we've seen happening with our clients, which is really exciting. How has coaching helped them to get those successes?
Well, I think all the things that we've already said. But something that I wanted to mention is in foundations, almost everyone comes in and needs to work on their offer. So even if they've already sold it before, they're like tweaking it, they're changing it based on our advice. And there is such a big difference between even people who come in and have already sold it. When they start getting clear on the things that we say their offer needs to have and how specifically they need to talk to people, like the difference in how confident they are on one of our workshops talking about their offer the first time versus like after they've been through it and they know who they're talking to and they're really clear on what they do, the confidence is like crazy. It's so good. And I don't know, I'm sure that there are people who can get there on their own. But if I was to create an offer today, that's what I would want, is so that when I go on a podcast, I know that I can be confident in what I am doing and what I have to offer. And it's like all the feedback that they get from us, and like the cheerleading is great, but it's like, I don't know, I think it's just the confidence that they get. Yeah, I mean, I just think that the confidence that they get out of like we have like the tangible stuff, like these are the things that you need to have in your offer to make it compelling and make people want to buy it. And then we also have like the community piece where they get feedback on it from us and from the other people who are learning. And we have like our one-on-one, it's like, I think it's just like a whole package that gives them in foundations the confidence to just go talk about their offer, because that's like the biggest, hardest step for them to get over is like, let me go out into the world and tell people about this thing.
Yeah, so true. So true. So Suzanne, how about you? How do you feel like coaching has helped your clients get to those successes?
I've had, so now that I've been in the program as a coach for just over a year, I've had clients who have finished successfully, and I have clients who maybe weren't quite there when they completed their time with me. And as I've gone back and I keep up with them as best I can every 6 weeks, every couple months or so, and just touch bases with everybody. And I have seen how those who weren't quite there yet are still not quite there yet. They're still struggling. And I really think there's a huge, huge piece to be said for having us coaches that know the ropes, having that guide along the journey. It's the encouragement to keep going, but it's also the wisdom in advance. You don't know the route you're on, but we do, and we can help you navigate it faster, easier. And I think that there's a lot to be said for that. And a lot of people kind of minimize our role, and to their detriment. I have quite a few of my foundations clients that maybe don't connect with me very often. Instead of weekly, it's maybe every couple of weeks, every few weeks, and they're definitely farther behind in the grand scheme of things than the ones who are connecting with me 2 or 3 times a week.
Yeah. Yeah, such a good point. We definitely, I think that Zaida and I can agree that we see that too, that there's something to be said for that checking in. I feel like as far as the role of coaching and helping clients see success is it really just accelerates their growth. And like Zaida said earlier, maybe you can do some of it alone, but there's so much to be said for someone who has this bigger view and can look at your business. It helps so coaching helps you get out of your own head, because often we're just swirling and twirling in our thoughts. And when you bring your thoughts out to a coach, and a good coach is going to pull those thoughts out of you, really help you work through those and then take action. And so I think coaching just is, it can be easy, like you said, Suzanne, to kind of write off, because we can say when we're in the role of being coached, hey, I did that all myself. Well, with a good coach, you're going to feel like that, like you did it all yourself, because it is you, and it's just you being guided. And the coach's role is to get everything that's in you and help you make progress along your path. So you guys, so many good things today. And for those listening, you can see what stellar coaches we have inside the Peaceful Profits program, really just dedicated to helping clients see success with their business. We love it. When our clients succeed, it is the most amazing feeling. We love to see the things that they are doing. Like Suzanne mentioned, we love to keep in touch. Like they become people that we care about, and we want to know what's going on in your business. What progress have you made? And so this is what it's like on the inside, all good things. So Suzanne, Zaida, thank you for being here. Super good to talk. And for all of you, if you are not being coached by us yet, be sure to go to peacefulprofits.com/call, get all the details on how you can work with us. And we'll see you next time. Bye.